Namaste, angels. This is going to be our full moon in Taurus and lunar eclipse reading. I'm sorry I wasn't here to have it for you yesterday. I had every intention to. It was back when I did my daily and into the weekend reading for my Patreon subscribers. I said on there, okay, I'm going to do the moon reading now, but I started working on a client that I have, an energy healing client who's got like a really heavy court case going on and stuff, and I started working on that, and I just felt so drained afterwards. Between that and the moon, I suppose I didn't really have it in me, because I mean, when you're not a real psychic or whatever, you can, I guess, put on like a monkey every time you need to do something. Oh, I got to do another thing, I got to do another show, I got to whatever. But well, I'm using really psychic energy, and anybody else that has any amount, I would imagine, of true psychic gifts and does real readings or real energy healing, or maybe even Reiki and stuff, which is, they have school for that and training for that. So it's not necessarily a natural thing, but maybe even that, because you still use your energy, probably understands what I'm talking about. So anyway, I was drained, but I'm not drained anymore, and I'm here to do the reading. So I pulled out cards that had Osiris in them, and as soon as I started shuffling these, we got the Lunar Queen, which I thought was really appropriate since this is, the full moon reading. And the Lunar Queen shows up to say that there's like this really strong feminine energy that and wisdom, intellect, feminine knowing, sort of, that recognizes like the importance of cycles and understands the importance of cycles and the need for rest. So yeah, I mean, I did that yesterday, as I just told you, rest and replenishment. You got to get your energy back up. So as you can tell, I'm talking pretty fast today. I can feel it myself. I've replenished myself. My energy is back up. Also, the moon today is in my first house of self, because it already left Taurus technically and moved into Gemini. So I'm on, I promise you. But it's important to like balance your energy, is what this card shows up to say, and to definitely, again, rest, rejuvenate, recover, replenish, all that stuff when you're using your energy and your power, because you need to be able to use it again. And, she shows up to say that we're going to start something new, and that's what full moons are about, and that's what eclipses are about. Lunar eclipses are about too. Things ending and new things beginning. So in order for us to do that, we sort of need to, again, be replenished. She wants us to, just like let go and allow and even enjoy the process to happen, without trying to like control it or whatever. And, start again when it's time to start again. That's it. This next one that's also upright, Mother of Life. I'm not going to be able to go through all of these, Isis. She's got so many upright cards here. But this next one is about, it's kind of like the Four of Pentacles. When I talk about the Four of Pentacles, at least the way that I read it, maybe not the way that everybody reads the Four of Pentacles, but the way that I read it, and I say that it's about just like existing and doing and going through the motions and remaining in situations and relationships that you shouldn't anymore, but because they're there, because they're convenient, because that's the devil, it's easier than maybe starting something new. That's what this card is about. We can falling into just like a pattern of existence and not really living. So she wants us to live, basically. She wants us to, let go of anything that we're stuck in, any habits that we need to release. Now's the time with this moon to get rid of them. And again, this is going to be about restoration and recovery, like letting go of those old things and starting over, basically, and actually enjoying the life that you were put here to live. She's got more. I won't keep going through all of them. Talismans of potency, charging sacred objects of power. That's pretty straightforward. Of course, she does go into detail if in the book. Yeah, I'm not going to remember all these. You do charge your objects in the moonlight. You can still do that today, actually, if you have not done it already, or even if you have and you want to do it some more, because your stones got to rest and recover too, and then she wants us to use these. So you might use them in your rest, And in your recovery, maybe put a stone. I like what Isis likes. I like to put sometimes the black one raw under my pillow. Why am I having a mental block? Obsidian from the lava. I have polished obsidian and I have raw obsidian, and when I'm feeling a certain way, a certain kind of way, like I need to replenish and stuff, I like to put the raw one particularly under my pillow. I've woken up like sweating and stuff. I've gone to bed not ill, not in a fever, and it's not cold. I mean, it's not hot or whatever, but I've woken up like sweating and just feeling like I got all this, like all the crap out of me, and I just get out of my bed and take a shower. And I think it's from the obsidian, and that I believe that I release crap when I do that. So anyway, I'm recommending that to you. I think Isis is recommending that to you, herself directly too. Also, Divine Guardian, protection of the winged mother. Maybe we should talk about that one a little bit. Basically, she's again reiterating that we're going to be in this like really important, significant time of like healing and expansion and growth, which makes sense if you look at what's going on with the planets and the stars too. And, a lot of changes are going to be happening now, but again, a lot of things will be coming to an end. You're going to start brand new stuff. This is like finality, when I say an end, like some stuff is never going to exist in the way that it has, like at all again hereafter. And she wants us to know that through all this, we're protected, especially during any of the challenging times in having to release things and let things go and let people go. She wants us to know that she's with us, her wings, she puts them around us, she covers us, she protects us so that we can just sort of, again, relax and allow for the transformation and transition to occur. So those are the words from Isis, messages from Isis. From Osiris, this is the Cinder Master deck. And I swear, if I'm lying, I'm dying, like on everything I love. I went to shuffle the cards and he popped out immediately on top. So here we go. Father, husband, brother, son, Osiris. I'm thinking such a big deal of it because, 1119, for those of you who are new to my channel, you may not know, but I'm a real number weirdo. And some things that were revealed to me very, very early on, such as 1119 being the day that King Osiris told me he wanted his birthday celebrated. And since then, that was 5 years ago. Since then, we've seen all kinds of evidence as to it being true. Like I don't have to try very hard to prove it. Including things like yesterday, the full moon landing on his birthday. All right, okay, so father, husband, brother, son, Osiris. Also, positive change, Parvati. And mother, wife, sister, daughter. So what these cards mean, a positive change is pretty straightforward, but what these cards mean, sort of textbook or according to the booklet that comes with the decks, is there is a relationship with a male and or masculine energy, a father, husband, brother, son, could be friend too, could be your own inner masculine with whom you need to heal a relationship. This could go back to your need to, again, rest and recover. That may be what, again, your own inner masculine may need to be replenished. So you have that energy to depend on should you need to lean on your more masculine side. The same can be true about mother, wife, sister, daughter. It can be talking about you yourself. Or there could be a female and or feminine energy in your life with whom you need to heal a relationship. And that will be happening during this period, likely. Then we got this other sort of representation of the father or the son or both, right, the Trinity, with the universal heart. And this is the illustrator's sort of depiction of the sun. Definitely not going to be everybody's, but we know what he's trying to convey here. And the larger message is about the little dots that you see. If you look closely at the card, you begin to see a bunch of little white dots popping out, like the stars in the sky. You know, like when you look up in the sky, and it can be like, oh, the sky is so empty, there's no stars. But if you look long enough, you start to see them all pop. Oh, there's one. I'm sorry, there is one. Oh yeah, there's another one. There's another one. That's what this card does, and it's just a reminder of the importance of every little dot, of every person, of every being, every planet, every star, each of us. How it's all necessary, to make the whole thing work. And then we also have gateway here. So this can be looked at, especially since Isis was talking about ascension and growth and expansion. This can be looked at as a portal, whether it ends up being a physical one for you, like where you actually feel or recognize, or maybe even know that you have switched dimensions. I used to find evidence of I didn't realize it at the time, but evidence of my having switched dimensions all the time. Like for one, I'll give you one quick example. So I park my car in a place with valets. Like, well, now I park my own car, but for years, the valet would bring me my car because I didn't have a dedicated spot in our garage. And so one day, the valet gave me my car, and I went to get in it, and he handed me my keys. And it was indeed a key to my car. I just saw the man take it out the ignition and hand it to me. It was a key to my car. It was a key to my car I had never seen in my life. And it didn't have the valet remote or the driver's, like I have a valet key and I have my key. And I had left my key in the garage too. So like they had both of my keys. This was a third key that didn't have the remote on it. And it had some kind of weird keychain on it and stuff. It started my car. It opened my doors. It opened my trunk, but it was not my key. And I was like, oh, like I must have brought this from another dimension. That's just one example. I have so many. Anyway, that may be you may have a similar experience during this period, or sometimes we, very unbeknownst to us, have traveled through a portal or to another dimension or whatever, or this could be representing again just your own inner growth, expansion, and ascension. And that was the last card that was upright for that deck. And with the Angel and Animal Tarots, only the Lovers, Major Arcana card 6. True and long-lasting love finds its way into your life. Follow your heart with caring actions and choices. The Lovers represents the planet Mercury and the sign of Gemini most directly, which it rules. Behind this card, the next card is in reverse, but it too represents the planet Mercury for me. This card in this deck, the Angel Tarot, has always just felt like the first time I got the deck, and I've had several copies of this deck. I how they say, use them to ride it till the wheels fall off, and then I use another one. It's the same card, the same deck, a new deck of the same cards. So anyway, this is like my third deck of these cards. And but no matter what, like this card has always felt like Mercury to me, and I can't explain what it means for something to feel like Mercury, but it feels like Mercury. And so it represents for me the planet Mercury and the signs which Mercury rules, which is Gemini and Virgo, but it is actually Major Arcana card 0, the Dreamer or the Fool. All about a leap of faith and following your dreams, because that leads you to unexpected opportunities. So speaking of Mercury, we're on a roll. The next card is also in reverse, and normally I wouldn't mention it, but it's the Queen of Swords. So a lot of very strong Mercury, Gemini energy showing up to start off the reading, which is interesting. Could be giving us a message maybe about the next full moon. Or we also do have currently Mercury, Gemini's ruler, stationed in Scorpio, where the sun is, although the sun's about to leave and go into Sagittarius. And what else we have Mercury doing? We have Gemini as the true north node currently, so that could be another reason. I'm just giving you a couple of things that are out there. We're going to get into which I'm going to use these first, which is not something I would normally do. We will be doing kind of quickly in this reading about 3. Oh, I didn't. Is this the pile with the? Yeah. I like to normally just throw these, the ones that we looked at, into random piles, random places. Okay. we were doing like 3 or 4 spreads if I can squeeze them all in. So I don't want it to be long, but I want to look at a few different things. So we'll aim for like a half hour. Even though I do not have a clock in front of me. There's a clock on the camera. If I look at the camera, I can see how long we've been going. All right, so as you can see, we have randomly picked up all the cards that we sort of laid all over the place. That's to mix them up again. 9 of Swords is our overall energy. Your worries and fears aren't real. They're fueled by focusing on the negative, which gives power to that of which you're afraid. Stop worrying, let go of fear, and everything will be okay. What's behind that? It's a card that's in reverse. It is the 7 of Wands. All right. So I'm going to do just the traditional Queen of Swords, square of 9, to see what's going on just in general. And we're starting out with a card that's all about restoration and recovery. Yet again, it's Major Arcana card 14, Balance for the masculine, crowning the masculine here. Balance is actually temperance in the traditional tarot. Represents the sign of Sagittarius most directly in traditional tarot. Also for me represents the sign of Aquarius because of the water bearer that's right on the front of the card. And then almost always, no matter what deck one is using, is on the front of the card. The need for balance and moderation, cooperation and compromise. Wait for perfect timing. Yes, this card is also about like negotiations, letting go of things that we were holding on to in the past that were blocking us, preventing us. So let's say that we had a disagreement and we both like held our ground and now we don't care anymore. It's like, okay, I'm willing to move past that. If you are, I am too. Let's do that. And so, you know, that's how you're able to negotiate, compromise, come together, collaborate. That's what this card is about. But it's also about healing energy, restoration, recovery, making a comeback. Surrounding the masculine, we have the 4 of Cups. Your responsibilities may distract you from noticing all of the gifts that God is presenting to you. Be open to investigating opportunities that come your way. So the masculine in danger of missing out on something because he's too focused on something that's insignificant and doesn't really matter, that's not important to him, and or he's not feeling as if like he is deserving of anything. So it's like, like, why pay attention to what's going on around me? Nothing good ever happens to me. It's like that kind of energy, which we need to, of course, be careful of because that is how we do miss out on stuff. Masculine subconscious, however, much more positive. Major Arcana card. Not Major Arcana card, Queen of Cups. Not a Major Arcana card. I'm like looking at this one at the same time and I'm talking. The Queen of Cups. She is compassionate, loving, giving, and psychic. This is a time of deep emotions and heightened intuition that you can trust completely. Be mindful that you don't ignore your own needs while caring for others. So that may be why this is positive because again, this is a healing energy. So if he is going through some emotions, that may be why he's sort of feeling like pessimistic and melancholy. But what's more important than that temporary feeling, because all these things are temporary, is again the healing. So I mean, there's promise here for this to get better. This may also have to do with an actual person as a court card, and maybe a direct water sign, a Cancer, Scorpio, or Pisces, or someone likened to those traits or attributes. Maybe most directly a Scorpio, because that is the card that is most represented by the Queen of Cups. So this whole thing, for example, I mean, it could be somebody in the masculine's life, or this whole thing could be representative of the masculine, and maybe we're talking to somebody who's listening there, an actual masculine that happens to be a Scorpio, or a Sag, or maybe a Cuspian. All right, crowning the feminine, the 9 of Wands. You're working hard, and what you've created is impressive and worthy of protecting. Annoying challenges may pop up, but don't worry, you'll get through them just as you have in the past. 9 of Wands is a card about needing to be persistent and to not give up, even when you feel like you're sort of down, like, I don't have it in me to do this anymore. The universe shows up to say, yes, you do, and gives you like a shove, to make sure that you follow through, because you're almost to the end. Surrounding the masculine, feminine rather, is the Knight of Wands. He is passionate, adventurous, self-assured, and restless. A sudden event that needs immediate attention. Time is of the essence. Think things through carefully. So this could be something that comes up for the feminine that, again, like you just sat down. You know when you come home and you sit down, throw your keys down, it's like, oh, I'm done for the night. And then something else comes up, your kids call you, or somebody needs this or that, and it's like, oh, okay, fine, here, I'm coming. Something like that may pop up, like you're sort of feeling like you're done, but no, something needs attention immediately, and you're there, you're able to handle it. This for you, or for us, feminine, maybe an actual person in our lives too, maybe specifically a male, and maybe specifically a male fire sign, an Aries, Leo, or Sagittarius, or someone like into those traits or attributes. Feminine subconscious, we have the dreamer is back. So it's the Fool, a leap of faith. Something could come up that you sort of are leery about, but would be good for you. Maybe it would be fun for you, would be positive for you. And again, you have the energy to jump after it. And then there's, even a stronger message showing up to say that you really, really should, because it can lead to so many unexpected opportunities. Of course, the Knight of Wands is also about opportunities, especially in career, and or love. Maybe with a Virgo or a Gemini or a fire sign. Crowning. The Ten of Swords. The end of a difficult situation. So something had been challenging us, which may be why the masculine feels melancholy, maybe why the feminine feels like she's over everything. But that thing is coming to an end. Embrace the change and expect things to get better now. Pay attention to that line. It's really important. Like, expect things to get better. It's talking about keeping a positive mindset and looking forward to the abundance that's headed toward you as like an affirmation, like it's coming. And this could also be about somebody recovering from some sort of addiction or something. That may be what the recovery and restoration is about too. This could be a feminine being afraid about, oh, I can't do it, I'm just going to throw in the towel. And the universe saying, no, you're almost to the end. You almost have this habit broken. You almost have this addiction, crushed. Keep it up. At the root or foundation, the Star, Major Arcana card 17. The Star represents the sign of Aquarius. You're about to take a big leap forward with your life. Worry will be replaced with optimism. So the worry that we started out with is our overall energy. It's saying this is going to be gone. Don't worry about that. We started with the Nine of Swords. We got the Ten of Swords crowning. So there's probably more worry here about, people hurting us, about betrayal, about loss, separation. And then the Star shows up to say, All right, that's going to be replaced with optimism. So I just talked about the opposite of optimism for the masculine, the pessimism. That's out. We're going to have optimism now, and fear will be replaced with hope. And joy is coming home to roost. The Star can also be about communication. So maybe between some of these characters that are showing up here. And if so, that communication tends to be something involving like electronics. So maybe texting or online dating or, DMs or something like that. At the heart of the matter, it's that Four of Pentacles I talked about when I was describing the Isis cards. Be cautious about living a life of extremes or seeing things in black and white terms. Consider, for example, whether you're spending too much versus hoarding your wealth, or giving too much emotionally versus building up walls that keep people out. And for me, the Four of Pentacles is about holding on to things that you need to get rid of, holding on to people, relationships you need to get rid of, and making up reasons of why, but they really talk about just the ease and comfort of staying there rather than taking a leap of faith, because that requires maybe for you to get uncomfortable and for you to, take a risk. So it's just easier to stay in something crappy. Like the job that you hate to go to, that hates you, that doesn't even pay you well. And you're like, well, at least I get a paycheck, But at least you get a paycheck from any job. So you don't need that job. get out of there if that's what's happening. And maybe that is what's happening. Maybe people are moving toward leaving things like that and deciding to take a, a jump at something that will be better for them, or finding that their prayers for something better to come to them is happening too. Prayers answered, wishes granted, dreams coming true with the star. And that may also go toward your, restoration and recovery. The fact that you're releasing something and gaining something better. I do have an upright card here. I can use it to clarify something. I guess these things are pretty straightforward. Maybe we can see what's up with this 10 of Swords. Okay, they're not willing to tell me anyway. It's another 9 of Wands. We have a 9 of Wands next to the 10 of Swords. Now we have a 9 of Wands clarifying the 10 of Swords as well. Don't give up. Protect that which you've created. Have courage and believe in yourself. So again, if you were working on breaking a habit and you feel like it's not, oh, I'm not even losing no damn weight and I've been eating leaves all day, don't give up. maybe change the method, maybe do some exercise, but don't give up. Oh, I'm having trouble, I'm never going to stop smoking. Maybe try the gum, maybe try hypnosis. I don't know, whatever. Try something different if what you've been trying isn't working, but whatever you do, don't give up. And that's our first spread. Next one, from the perspective of the masculine, like for love and relationships. We're off to a really shitty start. So I opened up to sorrow first. Or, again, like this depiction of Jesus and this depiction of Mary, his mother, and she's sad here. But this is going to be the love spread. Love and relationship from the perspective of the masculine. So, I mean, if that's what he's feeling, that's what he's feeling, Possibly feeling alone, possibly feeling sad, needing that reminder that, he's important, that every dot is important. Okay, now look what's happening. So Moon Tree, not only showing up because of the moon, Moon Tree is also about sacred love, sacred relationships. The relationship between heaven and earth, the relationship between, two sacred beings, all of those things. All right, then the card behind it is up, it's in reverse. But then also, when it fell away, eternal flame was revealed. So it can be about some very long relationship, maybe long-lasting connection that just hasn't gotten right. A soulmate. It's just not right yet, and we don't know why. Okay. Overall energy is love with the sorrow behind it. Crowning the feminine. Crowning the feminine. Representing the feminine. We have the Trilogy of Light. What is wrong with me today? I'm I'm high or something. I haven't had anything. Trilogy of Light. So it's another one of these cards is talking about like the Trinity for the feminine. Threes are about creation and creativity in the coming days, not for, not somewhere months out. The feminine may have an idea, or you may have recently had an idea that you may want to be more and more urged to give birth to, or it can be more literal. It can be about actual fertility and pregnancy, becoming pregnant, learning that you're pregnant in the coming days, having a baby. So it's creativity or creation is what the threes represent. All right, the masculine as it relates to the feminine. Embrace. Now, this card, I think it's giving us some, more than one message. The card, as far as the author's standpoint, is that this is not a couple in a loving embrace. This is one person's inner masculine and feminine coming together in a healthy and harmonious way. But I think it can also be representative of, the connection, whether physically, it could be physically for some, or energetically too, between the masculine and the feminine during this period. The masculine as relates to himself. We have golden path. So maybe there might even be a recognition, like a conscious recognition of the masculine, that he's on a spiritual path. Whereas in the past, there often has not been. He's just sort of been going and living life and going with the flow and not realizing that there's a need for a focus. But over the past couple of years, people have been awakening and growing, in their own time. And so with the feminine in any given situation or relationship, and as a collective as well, tending to be ahead of the masculine. When we would fall into these times when we're sort of on the same page is when we come together. And then the reason we fall apart again is because the feminine ends up being, again, higher, masculine not on her wavelength, and so he falls away. But he might be consciously on path now, which is, I think, a beautiful thing. This card, always one of my favorites in the deck, because like you can see the surrounding trees and stuff. There's like rainbow colors. And in the movie, The Wizard of Oz, it's like somewhere over the rainbow is where the dreams come true. But also we go down the yellow brick road. And when we get to the end of the yellow brick road, we have the Emerald City. And on the spiritual path, at least, this one, of this era, right, and the time of Aquarius, we have the Emerald Ray at the end, which is the ray of healing at the end of, our path. So, although the path never ends, I mean, there's always a new path, right? But you know what I mean. All right, the masculine is, where he is in terms of the relationship or connection, the union and connection as a whole, right now is fear. He's afraid. He's scared. And that jives with our Nine of Swords, is our overall energy from the last spread that we had. And in the cards that we got for the masculine, showing that he was going through this period of healing and probably fear. So ending up feeling kind of melancholy and doubtful and pessimistic. Overall, miracles can still happen. What energy the masculine would have the feminine give for the union or connection if it were up to him? Expectancy. Like, expect it to come together. Expect things to get better, like the Ten of Swords said, which I like. The author's meaning for this card is a little bit different. It's about sort of, it's more like what Isis was saying. So I think both of these are going to be important for us during the period. It's more about allowing and not, having some sort of like sense of urgency about what's supposed to happen or what you expect to happen, what you need to happen. And instead, like leaving the universe or God room to work miracles in your life, because you're not being like overly specific about the one thing that you want, Like when you speak about spells and stuff like that, and we say things, words have meaning, right? And sometimes they take on a meaning, they become a spell, whether we mean for them to or not. And if we, it's like exactly what we say. Or when you watch a movie with a genie and he says, well, you wished for this. And you're like, that's not what I meant. I wanted this other thing. When we're over specifying with the universe or with God, we can even limit them in what we're asking for. They're going to give us what we want, right? But if we allow them to just bless us with abundance in general, right? Happiness in general, then the highest good, something we can't even conceive with our little human minds, is possible. Miracles. So that's that meaning. But I think as far as the placement and for the masculine, what energy he would have the feminine give to the union or connection if it were up to him is one of like, not being doubtful and being expectant of the situation. Also, it's falling under the Trilogy of Light, where I just talked about, conceiving, having a baby. So there could be also something with that for some in terms of being, she's expecting. What energy the masculine giving to the universe? Abundance and holding on very tightly, trying to be grounded, right? Holding on very tightly to this tree. So definitely trying to be grounded in his energy and really look, the eyes closed, like really like wishing hard, trying hard to manifest abundance. But that requires surrender. Every time I see like a female nude body, to me it says surrender. because there's no way to be any more vulnerable than that, right? For a person, or maybe particularly a female, to be just naked out in the world with her eyes closed, where anything could happen. I mean, can you be more vulnerable than that? So that represents letting go and allowing. What the universe would have each archetype, masculine and feminine, each or both give to the union connection to have it work out. And the universe actually wants to help us with this thing too itself. It wants to support us in it. And it's healing sounds. Healing sounds also can be many, many things. So I think with the author, it's pretty like literal. I think he's mostly talking about things like binaural tones and stuff, if I remember correctly. Or like sounds in general, music and things like that, which can definitely be healing sounds. But also healing sounds can be like the things that we communicate to each other too. Like, like I'm sorry can be a healing sound, right? The person that receives that can really begin to heal from that. I apologize. I love you. Those are all healing sounds in my opinion too. So these could be things that we could communicate with each other, and the universe seeks to help us to do that, to make things better. And the outcome, or what we can expect to be happening in time for the next moon, so we'll be ready for the new stuff with the new moon, and that is transience and more allowing and surrender. So it wasn't very romantic, but it did tell, I think, a story of progression that leads into where romance could happen, and there's love here, right? There's love here. So there's a desire to get better, to do the work, as they say, for the masculine and the feminine, so that there can be these things. And I've already been talking about all the love and stuff, all the relationships, the marriages, engagements that I expect to see in 2022. And I've been talking about it for years, not just now, years, like since I got on here. And also, they've started already. So my last moon reading and reading, weekly general reading and love reading were all very romantic. I had a client that got married. I had 2 Facebook friends that got engaged. I had a Facebook friend that I don't really talk to anymore, but we had been pretty friendly, but she got married. So, oh yeah, and that was just the Queen of Swords page. On my real page, somebody that started out as a Facebook friend, but I actually met in person and stuff too. Even visited her out in South. I met her in South Carolina, and we went to Georgia together. Into like Charleston, like, Geechee territory, all of that. She got married last week too. And so now I will use these for the spread from the perspective of the universe, opening first to clear and shield your energy. See the other person's point of view. Energy healing. Flow of prosperity. I'll do one more. And it's crystals again. Mother, wife, sister, daughter, Lady Nada. And let it go. Spiritual law of attraction. This is all the stuff we were just talking about. Priorities. Drink more water because of ascension. And that's it. So, okay. So ascension, drink more water. This goes to the restoration and healing. Priorities, right? What's most, that's pretty straightforward. What's most important is what we need to be focusing on now. Drawing what we want to us, like the masculine with the abundance, or, making sure we're on path with the spiritual law of attraction. Let it go is the message we started out with Isis. And we're back also to mother, wife, sister, daughter. Again, there's a feminine energy with whom you need to heal a relationship, and it could be yourself. Okay, so you can look at this as a single person or as a coupled person. Yeah, single being or couple. You can do it. So this card, most representative of us, whether you're looking at it as a couple or a single person. Recent past. Yes. So some sort of obstacles or blockages, Ganesha knocked them down from in front of you recently. And yes, he's helping you, to clear things out. Near future. Purification. So some sort of cleansing, healing, restoration, recovery. Masculine's higher self. Nurture yourself. Maybe he had been forgetting him. He is finally on path, or like I said, consciously on path for some of them. So he may be doing things for himself, like, again, consciously. I need to do this if I want to be well, if I want to grow, if I want to increase my gifts, and that's what he needs to do. Blockages to individual or shared progress. So for a single person or for the couple, why isn't it moving? Something having to do with writing and thought. This could also be just not necessarily writing, but communication, period. Because this card, thought, and this card and thought in general represents the planet Mercury. Again, Mercury is the communication planet. We also have this full moon behind it. So this could be a time right now where you need to, you're being shown what the problem has been, and this is the perfect time for you to correct it. What, if you don't want to do that though, you want to see what else they have to say, what the feminine can do to help herself with relation to the block. Work your magic. So whatever you're best at in terms of whatever your best way of communicating is, use that one. So some people say like, well, I prefer the phone. Some people say, I prefer text. Some people say, I prefer in person. Whatever your best way is, that's going to be what pays off for you. What the masculine can do to help himself. You are seeing the situation correctly. Is not second guess yourself and not doubt yourself. If you get that inkling, I should call. I should write. I should go over. I should visit. I should, whatever the thing is, whatever your intuition is telling you should be doing. Horus shows up to say, yes, that's correct. That's what you should be doing. And then you should do it. And I think, we have to point out, not only do we have the cards, 2 cards of the same color, we have 2 cards that have 2 beings of the same pantheon and family on them. And then we have the 2 full moons. And it's like, yes, you're seeing the message correctly. This is reconfirmation and affirmation. So masculine, yeah, whatever you're getting moved to do is what you should do. And what the universe wants to see us do and help us with is persistence, is to not give up. And what we can expect to have changed or be happening in time for the new moon, to help us to, bring in new stuff at that time, is energy healing. So that's what we need to be doing during this period to prepare for the new moon. Was that, how many spreads did I do? Was that 3 spreads? Okay, I think that's good. Let's get an advice card from the Isis Oracle for each archetype. Ancient power mysteries. Hear the rattle of Isis playing. Yeah, I definitely think there could be more pregnancies and things coming up too. But now we got this rattle here. All right, here's a card for the masculine and here's a card for the feminine. Now I'm getting the book, and Ancient Power Mysteries is right up front. I'll just read a piece of that. The rattle of Isis, the sistrum, is playing in the hand of the goddess now. Can you sense it with your inner hearing? Oh, our overall, what the universe wanted us to know was about sounds before, right? Healing sounds and hearing. So there could be not just, again, an ascension, an increase in gifts, but maybe specifically something happening with clairaudience. Can you sense it with your inner hearing? Its vibration reaches through your crown chakra and enters your body, initiating you into great ancient power mysteries of sound, creativity, and healing. This is the time when words, communication, and music, sounds, will become increasingly important on your spiritual path and healing journey. Pay attention to the sounds or the signs and synchronicities, particularly those that come in sound. So whether that's a sound that's in your own head only, or in music on the radio, or I don't know, like again from another party. This is also, I think, about communication. I had an experience already today with sound, with music. So I had this, I posted on my Facebook about, I had this funny experience with my ex earlier today, where he texted me a picture of himself as a teenager and it said, "Remember him." But I didn't know it was my ex texting me, because it came from a number that I didn't have in my phone, that I didn't recognize at all. So I wrote back, "Who's this?" Because I'm not going to go start talking about my ex to, I don't know, a stranger. I didn't know if it was some kind of, I didn't know what it was. So I wrote, "Who's this?" He thought I was saying, like, "Who's this in the picture?" So he calls right away, like, "What do you mean, who's this?" And then we had a nice conversation or whatever. I meant, who's this texting me, not who's this in the picture. And just now, as I was like driving, this is hours later, I heard a song that was relevant to both he and I. And I said, "Oh, maybe we're starting like a new," I thought in my head, like maybe we're starting like a new journey too. Better friends, because we've definitely had a long, and sometimes very rocky road, and not being very nice to each other or kind to each other. But it's unknown caller. Okay, it stopped. That was weird, because I turned my ringer off. And I checked my phone before I started. I thought that I turned my ringer off. Anyway, what was I saying? Oh, like, so I'm 50 now, and we met when I was 14. So it's like over 30 years of this connection between he and I. As in some form of relationship over the past 35 years, whether that means a romantic relationship or just friendship or frenemies or enemies, we've had something, over all this time. And I was just like, I had the thought that, oh, maybe we're, going to enter into a better time and have a nicer relationship. And then that song went off, and then the song that came on right after it was one that between my masculine and I, because I always said he reminded me of a pony, because he had these long dreads, and don't ask. Reminds me of a little horse. And so I would call him Pony, and Pony came on. So I was like, okay, I don't understand what this is, but it sounds like you guys are like energetically fighting. So anyway, pay attention to stuff like that. I noticed it, so I'm sharing it, that's happening, and that's something like that could happen. All right, masculine, your card is Soul Retrieval. Deep soul healing with the goddess. Okay, that makes sense. That's the kind of thing we've been seeing. Let me find that page. They're in alphabetical order in this book. So, ooh, my eye is itching now too. All kinds of things are happening during this reading. Soul retrieval. Deep soul healing with the goddess. Isis healing goddess now offers you spiritual restoration So again, with the same words and everything. And deep soul healing through the art of soul retrieval, reclaiming pieces of you that were lost through trauma, old and new. Soon, you will enjoy greater wellness, energy, and power, as well as the opening of gifts. Everything that I said to you during this reading, the opening of gifts and soul abilities. So you guys are getting some sort of new abilities too. There's an ascension, and there's new psychic gifts. Things that you did not know you had, right? So they're awakening now, they're growing. This goes on that I'm happy to share with somebody if they want, but for the purposes of keeping it short, I'm just reading the top parts. Feminine, for us, the card is Life Restored, Priestess of the Phoenix. And what's interesting about this is the Phoenix is a card that represents the sign of Scorpio. And we're in that, again, we're still in that sun right now. Life Restored. I must have passed it. L comes after K, right? Yes, it does. Sometimes I have to think about the alphabet. All right, Life Restored. Spiritual resurrection is gifted to you now. Whatever part of you or your life you thought to be dead is being revived and will flourish back into life. Just as the phoenix rises from the fire, transitioning from death into life, so too will you rise again, healed and renewed. And that was for the feminine. Hope you guys have enjoyed this reading. Again, I'm sorry it was late. I hope you find it worthwhile. And it will go through December 3rd. And then hopefully on time, on December 4th, I'll be back with the new moon in Sagittarius reading. Namaste.